I'm Dan Kearns, and this is my story. So my wife Alicia and I were married in 2006. When we first got married, we weren't really looking to start a family, have children. I needed to finish up school. We were hoping to have a couple more years of just, ourselves. And so we weren't actively trying, but at the same time, we weren't inactively or not trying. And so we went a few more years of that. I graduated. We were then ready to start a family. Hey, let's get this going. It's been 5 years. It's 2011, and it wasn't working. And so we went to a fertility treatment specialist, and we began fertility treatments. And it started very simple things, like medications and injections, and that quickly moved to IVF. The IVF worked. We got pregnant and celebrated, had good news, pictures and smiles just between ourselves. And it was short-lived because it ended in a miscarriage. And at that time, me and Alicia were pretty devastated and heartbroken from it, and wanted to move away from the treatment and just believe God for healing and natural conception. In the meantime, Alicia, she was a past social worker, so she was always in these circles, and she had heard about a volunteer program to help out parents who were just in a tough situation. They're struggling, and they just need temporary homes for their children. So we signed up, we went through it, we qualified, and did all the steps to prepare. And it felt like the next day we were getting a phone call already, and we had 2 little boys. They were 5 and 7. And they showed up. They were fun, a lot of energy. We just kind of felt like we were babysitting and just kind of taking care of them, making sure they're fed, entertaining them, playing with them. And, after a couple weeks, their parents got back on their feet, they worked their things out, and they were back home. And so we did this with a number of children. I remember about a year afterwards of doing this, Alicia and I were still believing God for healing. We were still trying to conceive naturally. And she actually began writing our story in a blog called Waiting for Baby Birth. And she actually began holding support group meetings in our home for other women who were also struggling to conceive. So our time began to actually get more consumed with everything else going on. That break was looking really nice. We got another phone call. And it was a phone call about a 3-year-old girl who needed a place to stay. And I remember that morning reading Isaiah 1:17, where he says, learn to do good and seek justice, fight for justice, and help out the oppressed. That's it. Okay. I knew then that he wanted me to do this. And so we said, yes, we're going to do it again. So the next day, this little 3-year-old girl with curly blonde hair showed up with her black duffel bag of stuff. That 3 weeks that we were supposed to have her, quickly turned into 3 months. And 3 months turned into, hey, DCFS was getting involved. It was moving to foster care. So 3 months turned into 3 years. And it was 3 years of uncertainty. I remember many times she would ask, hey, can I stay with you? And I remember battling that inside because I really didn't know what to say. I couldn't say that she was because I didn't know for certain, but I did. I said, yeah, for now you can. You're gonna stay with us for now. Her dad was unavailable, and her mom she was in a tough situation, just couldn't get back on her feet. So after 3 years foster care, we officially adopted Michaela in July of 2017. And then through that process, I remember in the volunteer program, I was always insistent on, hey, I'm Dan, And sometimes she would want to call me Daddy, and I'd say, yeah, I'm Dan, because it was supposed to be 3 weeks. So I didn't want her to have this attachment of dad to me. But she started that. And so I remember once it went to foster care, we had her for at least we might have been in the year range. And she was in preschool, and she had other children, they had their dads, and they would talk about it. And I remember the social worker saying, hey, if she wants to call you dad, that's fine. So I was Daddy Dan, and that didn't last too long before I was just daddy. For me, the biggest part of that process when it was in foster care and it was so uncertain was that question she asked, can I stay here? Because I wanted to provide security. I wanted to be there to be somebody she could count on, to be constant in her life. And that was something that was so difficult to say yes. You can stay here. And even though it was messy, and even though it sounded like you, to be able to tell her now and to say, yes, you're my girl, and you'll always be my girl, and I can provide that sense of security, that she knows she's loved, and she always has a safe place with me.
Steady me, slow and sweet, we sway, take the lead and I will follow. Finally ready now to close my eyes and just believe that you won't lead me where you don't go. When my faith gets tired and my hope seems lost, you spin me around and remind me of that song, the one you wrote for me, and we dance, and we dance. And I've been told to pick up my sword and fight for love. Little did I know that love had won for me. Here in your arms, you still my heart again, and I will breathe you in like I've never breathed till now. Faith gets tired and my hope seems lost, you spin me around and remind me of that song, the one you wrote for me, and we dance, and we dance. Joy for morning, and I will lock eyes with the one who's ransomed me, the one who set my feet today. to know I'm not alone. I found my home here in your arms.
I feel like as we went through this process that it's much like faith. I feel like there was enough evidence that God gave us that we always felt like we were doing the right thing. We always felt that this is good. But there was always lacking enough information where it was always faith. We were always walking like across this invisible bridge, like where every step, you really don't know if it's going to hold you or not, but you step anyways because you have enough information to make you feel it's right, you feel it's good. And that was our walk through this whole process. Alicia and I didn't reach a destination of like, hey, this is our child, this is what we were supposed to have. We still seek to have a child through natural conception. You know, I guess looking from the outside or even inside, from the just looking at our situation, I don't always see that perfect redemption story, but I know we're in the process. I know there's small redemption happening like now, but I know there's more redemption to come in the future, and I'm excited to see that, but I don't know how. I can't see it. I don't know how it'll work out, but I know there's a bigger redemption story through all of this.